Welcome back to CentralValleyTalk.com with Mike Briggs and Athena. Mike is probably off gallivanting in the tower, but I have the best prize in the world. Baby Nico Giovanni Pavone. If he gets a little fussy, I'll hand him over to, you know what, our gardener woman. She could be perfect. Okay, so it's World Breastfeeding Week, and it's a World Breastfeeding Walk tomorrow in Woodward Park. My friend Dr. Amy Evans is here, and I'll tell you, breastfeeding it comes easy for a lot of people, and it doesn't come easy for a lot of people, and I'm one of those women, actually. But Dr. Amy Evans is originally from Rochester, New York, where she received her medical degree at the University of Rochester of Medicine and Dentistry, so she's super duper uber smart. I know she is, because I know her. And then she went on to do her pediatric residency at Strong Memorial Hospital, the University of Rochester Department of Pediatrics, and now she's in Fresno at Peachwin Medical Center. Dr. Amy Evans, everyone! Woo! And where else are you, though, at Fresno Community? You run the Mother's Resource Center.
I do a
Keep
lot
on
of,
talking. I'm going to put him over here.
That's okay.
I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Keep on talking.
I do a lot of different things. I'm sort of a hybrid. I do teaching with the UCSF teaching program with the Department of Peds. I have a clinic, and it's a tertiary clinic for breastfeeding mothers and babies who have complicated problems. And I also do primary care pediatrics at Beechwood, and I lecture, and I do all sorts of stuff. I just did some research, all sorts of stuff. I'm also a mother of two.
And she's a mother of two. Okay, well, let's talk about breastfeeding. Why breastfeeding? Why is it so awesome compared to formula? Because now I had an OB visit me at the hospital, and he said, if you can't breastfeed, formula almost has the same things. And I said, no.
No, it doesn't.
No. Not my OB, by the way. It was someone that was on call for him, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was
Find
like,
out who that is afterwards.
yes, we will gossip when we get off the
will.
air. Why breastfeed, Dr. Amy Evans?
It's so much better for the baby. I mean, breast milk has all sorts of stuff in it that formula just can't replicate. They're trying, but they just can't do it, very simply. It has all sorts of immune factors in it. It has white cells in it. It has fats and sugars that nobody else can replicate. And it's made specifically for a human being. And your milk is being made specifically for Nico.
It's You're
Seriously,
right. You're right,
is.
because it's like something to do with
he
was in me,
right.
The milk's in me.
It's all your genes, it's all your stuff that you have, all the infections that you've had against colds and everything else. You have antibodies, and that's going straight to Nico. And that's preventing him from getting sick.
And, well, that's what I was going to ask you. So it helps with sickness,
Yep.
immunity, allergies.
Allergies, it prevents asthma, and with this lousy air quality, this is a big deal.
This
right
air
now.
is horrible.
Yeah, it's awful. I feel badly for everybody.
Dr. Amy Evans and I have a huge connection. I was on the radio in Rochester, New York for a couple of years. So here I am, a pharmaceutical rep, visiting Dr. Evans, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but you're from Rochester, and did you hear me?
You know why? We recognized your voice on
That's
the radio.
what it was.
My husband recognized you.
Because I'm also on the radio
like
here.
Athena. That sounds like Sister Athena. We're like, oh my gosh, it's Athena. And then when I met you, it's like, this has to be the same
Because that was
woman.
Sister Athena with Brother Weeze.
She was on the rock show back in Rochester. That's how we
And
knew
it's
her. I
crazy.
couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe
So
it.
I immediately felt connected and told her I was pregnant. And she said, if you have any problems, see us at, what's the full title in downtown
It's called the
Fresno?
Center for Breastfeeding Medicine. That's my clinic, and then the Mother's Resource Center is our lactation consultant clinic.
Okay,
We're
so
separate
there's two
but
different.
combined, sort of intertwined. That's what we do.
So let's just say someone's having a problem. Right now I don't, but Rocco and I had huge problems with infections and thrush.
Right.
If someone's like at their wit's end.
That's when you see me.
Okay.
Infections and thrush means you need to see me. You need a doctor's help, and I'll take care of you and the baby. But if
you can still breastfeed.
Of course you can. Oh my goodness, everybody does nowadays. But if you had just a latch issue or you're just not sure how to do it, that's where our lactation consultants help you guys get hooked together.
Right, because the baby has to latch on. Because when the baby doesn't latch on properly, it hurts, you get sore, you need a nipple shield. I mean,
It's a mess. It could be a mess.
It is. Breastfeeding can be very tough,
And
but it can
not,
be very easy.
It's not easy. I had a hard time with my first one. He was not easy at first, and then all of a sudden I just learned how to do it. So by the second one, it was like, we're done.
How long should you breastfeed for?
Well, we're recommending exclusively till 6 months. Exclusively, that means nothing but but vitamins and breast milk.
Interesting.
It prevents ear infections to a huge degree. It prevents lower respiratory infections to a huge degree. And
RSV
it makes a
and all that, right?
Exactly, RSV.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference. Then we say adding complementary foods after that. So we say, cereals and, all sorts of good things, fruits and veggies, starting at 6 months.
Okay.
But we recommend well into the second year. And I'm not saying breastfeed the kid 8 times a day when he's 12 months old.
Yeah.
I'm saying breastfeed him maybe a couple times a day. He's going to be drinking, cup stuff as well.
Is it hard to wean them off of it, or is it
Really?
pretty
It comes
easy?
sort of naturally. It
Yeah.
really does. I mean, people think I'm sort of nuts when I say going to the second year, but it really is a natural process. You slow down on your supply, the baby slows down, or the toddler slows down on what he wants him. But, usually by about 2, they sort of stop on their own.
Speaking of slowing down on your supply, so let's just say, even your breastfeeding and pumping and all that stuff, and your milk supply is still low. What can you do to make your milk supply even more so, or even just a little bit?
I mean, the basic concept is supply demand. So if you don't drain, you don't make. And if the baby can't drain for some mouth problem, like their tongue is tied or whatever, then they can't transfer milk from breast to them. So that can be a problem too. So we make sure that the baby can drain well and that, there's no mechanical problem. If that isn't the issue, then it's a drainage problem maybe in the mother, or it could be a hormone issue if she started birth control pills or got a depot shot or something like that.
Ooh, that's
that
interesting.
can really screw up your milk supply big time. We don't like that.
Because I noticed, if I pump, the milk supply is getting lower, but it matters on when you're actually doing it too.
Right, and pumping really makes a big difference. If your baby's not the best drainer, then you want to pump to really drain the system, because an empty breast will make more. It's
Interesting.
like asking, you shall receive kind of thing. So that's most of the time. Now, there's that 5% of women who can't do it.
Demand. Yeah, that's true.
There's some women who just can't make it for a variety of different reasons. Those are the women that I see in my clinic, and I help them. And I help them all sorts of different ways. There's medical ways of doing it. There's all sorts of things.
I've heard mother's milk. I've heard beer, which is a great thing.
Yeah, beer's good, but not a lot.
Maybe just one.
Maybe not
one.
6. Not 6.
Dark. I heard
and don't
dark
nurse
beer.
at the same time you're drinking this stuff, because it's going directly into your milk.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
You can do it after an hour. You don't have to pump and dump. You can drink after.
Why
you
do
can,
people
or your
say
baby
that?
can drink after an hour. It's wives' tales. There's a lot of wives' tales out there.
And coffee and
Coffee
spicy
is fine,
foods.
totally fine. Everything is fine.
Hey,
yes,
I'm
everything.
liking Dr. Evans even more so, because I love my coffee and beer and spicy
eat
foods.
your garlic and everything. Just don't eat it. Don't eat a lot of it. Just do everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, because your kid's going to eventually eat what you're eating, so he has to learn how to taste what you're tasting.
That's true.
So,
See,
it makes total sense to get them exposed early.
Let's talk about the World Breastfeeding Walk tomorrow, Woodward Park.
Woodward Park, it's a big deal. World Breastfeeding Week is actually a thing that's going on all over the world. It's not just Fresno. And there's going to be a walk starting, I think, at 8:30 to 10:30. There's going to be, hundreds of people walking.
Cool.
Supportive breastfeeding. Then we're going to have, I think, something called the Great Latch On, where women literally all over the world are going to be latching their kids.
That's awesome. 1, 2, 3, latch.
Seriously, it's going to be like, millions of women all over the place, starting, I think, at 10:30 or something like that. I don't have all the exact times, but it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And we hold this every year, and it just shows support in the Central Valley for breastfeeding. So it's a big deal, and I'm going to be there, obviously. We're going to have a booth, and we're going to have information and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. So that's 8:30 to 10:30 tomorrow at Woodward Park.
Tomorrow, and then I think the whole thing's over at 11, so I think the latch-on starts at like 10:30 or something like that.
That is hilarious.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Well, we have about a minute left, Dr. Evans. Tell us how people, if it's okay with you, if they're interested in either you being a pediatrician at Peachwood, or if they have questions about breastfeeding. Is there somehow people can get a hold of you?
Well, there's a lot of ways that, they can get information. I mean, I would recommend getting it initially from the hospital of delivery, because most hospitals of delivery have a lot of handouts. And if you're part of the community system, I'm a little biased. I'm part of the community system. We have much better handouts.
Nico was born at Clovis Community.
Thank
I got to tell you,
that's good.
They were so, just everything, the brochures and the lactation nurses, and we're going to show you how to do this, and breastfeeding's best, and what's the stuff that first comes out when the baby's...
Colostrum.
Oh, my God.
Liquid
they were just
gold.
like, if you can just get through this, they were awesome.
So their handouts are good, and then they have
Yes.
numbers of where to call to get help.
Okay.
So,
including the place where
including
you
where
are.
I work. So,
Okay.
And so I really recommend that you look at your handouts and get basic information from there. And then if you need to go further, then call us, and then we can help you for sure.
Breastfeeding is awesome. If you
I'm
could
proud of
solely
you for
breastfeed.
doing it.
Oh, and it has been.
I know it's been a battle.
Wow, because just when you're about to give up, it's just like, oh, the milk supply is low. Oh, he's not latching on. Oh, we have an infection. It's hard, but you got to keep on going.
Keep on going, and he looks great.
Thank you. And you're saying 6 months.
6 months
If I can-
exclusive.
if I can
if
help
you're
her.
having problems, you call me.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
call Dr. Amy Evans
All right.
because she is the best. World Breastfeeding Week starting today and tomorrow. If you are in the Fresno area, or maybe if you're like in Modesto or anywhere near us, come on down tomorrow. It is the Breastfeeding Walk at Woodward Park. If you don't know where that is, just Google it. It's awesome, and it's 8:30 to 10:30 tomorrow. And the Great Latch On takes place at 10:30.
So, yep.
Are you just going to go 1, 2, 3, latch
Boom.
on?
Exactly.
That is
It's
awesome.
going to be all timed and everything. It'll be fun.
Well, I love what you do. Breastfeeding is best. Look at Nico. Look at these other babies, and hopefully we could prevent a lot of sickness and allergies and all that fun stuff. Thank you very much for being on our show.
Thanks for having me. It was a
You are
gas.
fabulous. Don't forget World Breastfeeding Week and the Breastfeeding Walk tomorrow in Woodward Park. Coming up next, Mike has so many people, I don't even know where to begin. Who is next? We'll find someone fabulous, almost as fabulous as Dr. Amy Evans. Coming up next on CentralValleyTalk.com.